welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara O'Brien. The news this week. At the Labour Party conference, Tony Blair began by saying, "This time next year, I won't be your leader." But then realised that Gordon's speech was still on the auto cue. Even before Blair's speech ended, most Labour MPs were out of their seats, which is good practice for the next election. Blair's farewell speech gives him 9 months to prepare for life after number 10, and Sherry Blair 9 months to cram as much Downing Street cutlery into a suitcase as she possibly can. Blair's speech was 20 minutes longer than Gordon Brown's, but longer isn't necessarily better, as John Prescott tried to convince his secretary. Reports circulate this week that Osama bin Laden may actually be dead. He was supposed to have died due to lack of treatment and the primitive conditions he was living under in a corridor of an NHS hospital somewhere in the West Midlands. Following reports of bin Laden's death, Al-Qaeda have requested no flowers, but had asked instead for donations to pay for an air ambulance to be crashed into the nearest American army base. In a statement to Al Jazeera, distraught Al-Qaeda lieutenant said, "That's terrible news. First Steve Irwin, and now this." This week we learned that Prince Charles is so fussy about the runniness of his boiled eggs at breakfast that he has 7 of them standing by. That's almost as demanding as Prince Edward, who insists on starting every day with 7 freshly buttered soldiers. Joining me tonight are 6 of the country's top comedy performers: Andy Parsons, John Coleshaw, Russell Howard, and Frankie Ball, Hugh Dennis and Mark Watson. Welcome to you all. Our first round is called Headliners. I show the teams a recent photo along with the initial letters of a newspaper headline. Here's a picture of Mr. and Mrs. Blair. So what does CTAL stand for?
Is it Cherie's Trap a Liability?
Is it Clinton threesome? Ah, lovely.
Is it Cherie's teeth are landmarks? Her whole mouth has been listed and declared a national park.
Is it Cherie and Tony advertise Lillettes? I can sweat all through my speech, but I'm fresh and dry and confident down under.
Crap tie and lawyer. Left to right.
Is it Cherie tackles a liar?
That close to satire.
Veering away violently at the end.
Is it Cherie, that's a lie, isn't it?
Is that right? Absolutely right. That's very good, yes. It is. The answer I was looking for was Sherry, that's a lie. This is a journalist's claim to have overheard Sherry Blair saying, "Well, that's a lie," when Gordon Brown talked of the privilege of working alongside the Prime Minister during his Labour conference speech in Manchester. Number 10 have denied the allegations, but the journalist Carolyn Lotter stood by her story. Who do we believe?
I believe the journalist.
Do you?
Yeah, why would they lie?
You're right. It really is a game of one-downmanship between who is the least trusted member of society at any given time. And they're just below paedophiles.
It was an amazing speech, though. Gordon Brown's speech was an amazing speech.
No,
he sounded
wasn't.
he sounded like he was like you would when you're drunk. He kind of went on. He kind of said, you know, it has been a privilege to serve under Tony Blair. And I love him. I love him. I've always loved him.
That thing with politicians crack jokes, isn't it? So Blair's big joke from his speech was, well, I don't need to worry about Cherie running away with the bloke next door, and they just loved that.
Yeah, killer guy.
It took a while for it to sink in with me that he meant Gordon Brown. I thought he just meant because she's a minger.
Do you think the fact that Tony was going, always happy that she's not going to get off with his next-door neighbour, explains why John Prescott has never been made Chancellor of the Exchequer? Or David Blunkett, for that matter.
Or any of the more famously sexually attractive members of the Labour Party.
Did you see the cards they had up during Blair's thing? So they've obviously just given out cards to people during the speech, and they're all saying, "We love you, Tony. Best Pierre." It was exactly like Gladiators. John Fashio with a couple of big sponge fingers. Clearly. Awooga!
The actual words of the final words of his speech. I can't sell it the way he sold it.
Go for it.
But,
Stand up and really go
next year I won't be making this speech, but in the years to come, wherever I am, whatever I do, I'm with you, wishing you well, wanting you to win. It's almost if he wanted the crowd to rise up and go, "No, E.T., don't leave." And then he goes, "No, the peace was in your heart all along. You had the superpower, not me." And then a bright light, and then he...
The thing is, he's worried about his legacy, and his legacy is secure. He'll be remembered forever as a mass-murdering bastard. In 100 years' time, he'll be an Iraqi fairy tale that mothers use to frighten their children.
There's been no, reaction about what Gordon Brown feels about, all of this, has there? Nobody's really talked about what he thinks about all of this in that sort of dislocating jaw way.
He's a detachable jaw, that if he needs to, eat like a small woodland animal, that he can actually remove the jaw and then swallow a vole entirely.
See, if he did
capture footage, it'd be like a cartoon where you'll see like a dog just going down his neck, just passing all the way down his cheek.
But if he did that, you'd watch it. It'd just be amazing. Kind of, here's a few policies, watch this. A vole. The Stokes.
What was unusual about Blair and Brown's speeches?
Was it the fact that they gave Blair 9.5-minute ovation?
But what do you do? What do you do when you're being clapped for 9.5 minutes? I mean, you can go like that for...
Get a cardboard cutout, stick it there, come back 7 minutes later.
But he would have gone back into, I don't know if they've got a dressing room. I like the idea that Gordon Brown's just sat there and he was like, "My name is Tony." Still got it. Oh.
I'm sure he went, but it might have been fear, because Hitler used to do it, didn't he? Everyone would give him an ovation and the first person to stop got shot. So,
wow, that works.
Yeah, Sherry was actually there to the side, just...
There has to be a point about 6-7 minutes in where you're kind of going, right, actually, now they're taking the piss, aren't they? They're actually now they're taking the mickey. They don't really believe this.
How good would it have been if he'd gone down into the audience and started a conga? What a way to leave office. I would have respected it.
The highlight of the political week came from around Points West. I live in Bristol, and there was a bloke on, I don't know his name, was fantastic, talking about Gordon Brown. He went, "Yeah, right early on he said he liked the Arctic Monkeys, then turns around he says he likes Coldplay. If he's going to lie about that, what else will he lie about?" It's just wonderful. Just the idea, who are you going to vote for? Cameron? He likes the Kaiser Chiefs? My guy.
What does Gordon Brown want to raise to 18?
Oh, the school leaving age.
It's school leaving age, yes.
they're paying kids to stay in school recently, weren't they? Giving cash bonuses to kids. There's kids going, "Oh, I'll put you in detention." Well, that's time and a half.
On the subject of education, how have mothers in Rotherham been causing a headache for a local school education authority?
They have been shoving hamburgers through the bars to feed their kids because the food they're getting is too healthy.
Yeah.
And the brilliant thing is they're actually feeding them through the bars of this cemetery.
Yes. The actual quote given by the women of Rotherham as to why they object to this is because they think their kids are being forced to eat overpriced, low-fat rubbish.
And are they having to pass the food through the railings because the kids are too fat to fit through the railings?
Just even their fingers.
They actually had the pictures they showed of the women were happy to be photographed doing because they thought this was like a human rights issue of some description. So they photographed them, but the children, to protect their privacy, were digitised in all the photographs. Just 3 big fat pixels where their face is too big, and stuffing a burger into their mouth.
Do you know, I know a woman who breastfed one of her children until he was 5, and she used to turn up when he was in primary 1 and put her breast through the railings for his lunch.
Thank you.
I was there every day at 12 o'clock.
Was it the whole breast, or being Scotland, was it just a very, very cold nipple?
It must have started off that little story when one kid must have come home and just, "You're right, they give me cucumber." What? And then they must have got to rang up the other. Have you heard this? Avocado. Fuck me, shitless. Let's make some burgers and show them what's what.
They don't make the burgers. They take orders during Little Break, or whatever you call it here.
Oh,
and then
really?
they take money and a list to a chip shop called Chubby's.
Is that right?
And they bring the food back, walk to the graveyard where the hands are reaching out. Like some sort of hideous kind of prison situation where they're grasping for the food and they go, right, and they fling the burgers in and the kids tear violently at each other, trying to get at the food, tearing scraps off each other to get it.
There was a quote...
I have made that picture more evocative.
Yeah. Incidentally, I don't think we do call it Little Break, but I'm very pleased to know that
In Ireland, we call it
it's
Little
called
Break.
Little Break.
At some stage, there was
When
Little
is
Break.
Big Break?
Big Break was after Little Break.
We would call lunchtime.
Yeah.
And everyone plays snooker.
Yeah. Please stare at your stories with school dinners in a kind of like, what? You got fed. We had to bring lunch in, like, you know. They think that's the norm. In Scotland, do they have?
Yeah, packed lunch.
Packed lunch, yeah, that's the way you do it. Whereas in England, seemingly, uniquely for the world, you have giant vats of fat and you just dump carbohydrates into the fat. And you know, God, eat this. This will perk you up for the afternoon.
Annoyingly as well, like, you know, when you're a kid, your mind's slightly warped. If your parents are split up, you got free school dinners as well. I used to look at my tuna mayonnaise sandwiches going, why can't she have an affair?
Do you know what the standard school lunch that you got from the chip shop in Scotland was? It was a packet of chips with a free potato fritter. So basically, a packet of chips with a really big chip.
Actually, there's a really good chip shop in Edinburgh which has a DJ in it at the weekend. It's fantastic.
You've got to feel sorry for him, though. You know what I mean?
It's not how he wanted his DJ career to work out. You got to presume he had dreams of the Hacienda, and then he said he's in a chip shop going, there you go, how are you? No, bag of chips, good for you.
Going out to the fritter posse.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of that round, the winners were Russell, John and Andy. Our next round is called Newsreel. We'll play in a recent piece of news footage featuring some of the world's major figures and ask John and Hugh to provide a commentary. This week your film will be on a political theme. Away you go.
A great speech yesterday, Prime Minister. Great speech.
Well, I know, it was very good. I was proud of the speech. I thought the joke was very good. And I think now, based on this, I could perhaps become a stand-up comedian in the future. That's what I'm going to do. Next question. You, Pod.
Yes. Sorry, I seem to have been breathing helium. You base your joke on Les Dawson. Why did you choose him?
Look, there's an important point here. I could have gone down the Jim Davidson route, which would have been quite wrong, or Prince Philip, but I believe that joke-telling is a very important skill for any prospective Prime Minister, and I think there are certain pug-faced dullards who would just not up to it, and I stand by that. Go on, you have a go.
Don't make me tell one. My wife is so fat we have to pierce her ears to watch the television.
Shit. No. My mother-in-law's so fat that other smaller mother-in-laws orbit around her, you know? Yeah, that's the way you've got to do it. Attitude. You understand? You have a
I've
go.
got one, Tony. I've got one. You'll love this. No, wait. I'm going to be the next Prime Minister.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
Well done, Hugh and John. Points to both of you there. Now we play a round called Topical Whirly Gag. This game involves Mark, Andy, Frankie and Russell. So if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This is a stand-up challenge. Our random news generator contains a bank of topics. We spin the wheel, and when it's up, anyone can step forward and try to make us laugh about the subject it's landed on. The winner is the team I judge to produce the funniest material. Our first topic is protest marches. Who's up first? Any criminal protests?
Yeah.
Russell.
OK. The only protest march I went on the Countryside Alliance March. I'm not pro or anti-fox hunting. I just quite like watching posh people get beaten up. I know it's wrong, but if you can find me a more glorious noise than then I'll happily listen. Come on, it's going to be fun, isn't it? And it's just so much fun baiting right-wing people. What do you think about fox hunting? I'll tell you what I think. If we didn't chase the fox, the entire bloody country would be overpopulated by foxes. Is that what you want, some hideous land of the foxes? Me, unable to leave my house and fear a fox wandering up to me, stabbing me in the gizzards? Is that what you desire? Looking across my lawn to see fox upon fox, prowling along my paddock, flicking the V's at me, walking hand in hand with asylum seekers? Is that what you want?
Very good, Russell. Well done, Russell Howard. OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is the Middle East.
You know when everything kicked off in Lebanon, all the Scandinavian countries evacuated all their people the minute anything happened. Do you know where they put them? Syria. What was that called? Operation Out of the Frying Pan. And then we had bombs coming through Prestwick Airport to be dropped on civilians. over there. I mean, it's really grim, but I suppose our only hope is that Prestwick Airport will have done their usual, got it all mixed up with their luggage. Lebanon will have got bombed with stuff Scottish folk are trying to bring back from their holidays. You'll switch on the news to see a children's school getting levelled by 40,000 packets of Benson and Hedges.
Well done, Frankie Boyle. Very good. OK, Mark and Andy are left. The next topic is... mugging. Mark.
Yeah, I got mugged by, like, a kid, like 13, 14-year-old kid. In a way, it's nice to see, you know, young talent coming through. Horrible feeling. This kid came up to me and said, "Oi, give me all your money, give me all your money," over and over again. And I was panicking, thinking, I've never been mugged. What do I do? In a way, it was obvious what to do. He was going, "Give me all your money." He took me through the process quite well. It was quite a user-friendly mugging in some ways. There was a questionnaire afterwards, how can I improve this? It was a horrible feeling, and I was in my pockets. All I had was a fiver, one fiver. I gave it to him, and this kid went, "Nah, it's not enough, mate." I know, it's not enough. Well, bit of an awkward moment, really. I felt like saying, "Well, I'm sorry if you feel I ripped you off in some way."
Well done, Mark Watson. One more topic is left to Andy. This is the topic. It's transport. Away you go.
Now, we have had bus lanes, we have had cycle lanes, we have a new initiative, combined bus and cycle lanes. What a crap idea that is. If there are two things that should never go together, it would be like having a path in the jungle for walkers and lions. You may also have seen that on our public transport system we now have an advertising campaign. Please ask, is this your bag, to stop unattended packages? Now, quite who you're supposed to ask, is this your bag too, if the package is genuinely unattended. But as I remember rightly, the problem with the London bombings was not with unattended packages. The problem was very much with packages which were fricking attended. You'll hardly like to go up to somebody wearing a rucksack and go, "Is this your bag?"
Well done, Andy Parsons. At the end of that round, I think the winners were Andy and Russell. Everyone come back. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What Is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. For each chosen category, I read out an answer and the players have to guess what the question might be. Mark, which category would you like?
The environment.
OK, environment it is. The answer is 3 billion. What is the question?
How many pages in the new Harry Potter book?
She won't stop writing, will she? She's banging away.
Is it what is the excess on Richard Hammond's car insurance?
He's walking around. It's what he would have wanted.
Is it what is the factor of Mick Hucknall's suntan lotion?
Is it how old is Ming Campbell in dog years?
Is it, according to the Daily Mail, how many people are currently illegally in Britain?
Is it how many people could Jesus feed with a KFC bucket?
Is it, in fact, what Richard Branson has promised to give to combat global warming?
That's exactly right. Very well done. Yes.
As I understand it, right, he said, "Oh, I'm going to give 3 billion to combat global warming," but in fact, he's giving the 3 billion, isn't he, to his own firm, Virgin Fuels. Right, so in fact, he's given no money to anybody else. He's given 3 billion to himself.
Yes. There's going to be a large cheque handing over where he hands a giant cardboard cheque to himself. And he goes, "Well, I'm delighted to be involved. On behalf of everyone in Virgin Fuels, we'd like to thank you for this thing." No problem at all. Take it as much as you want. Oh, you're too kind. You're a lovely guy. Love the beard. No, you as well. I love your beard as well.
But Virgin Fuel sounds a little bit suspicious anyway, doesn't it? Because that's sort of what they did to Joan of Arc. She was essentially Virgin Fuel. He's investing in wind farms and stuff, isn't he? He's got wind farms?
I've absolutely no idea. I think more it was bioethanol fuels I was going for, because wind farms are notoriously difficult to operate an airplane with. It's just difficult to get the lift.
You see, when you say that, I'm always worried about wind farms, that if you have enough of them, if you have thousands of these propellers everywhere, what's to stop the whole country taking off? It's just...
Apparently, people in Britain, right, are scared of wind farms, those big wind turbines. People don't like them, but people actually really like windmills. So I think maybe to get over people not liking the wind turbines, what they need to do is paint a little door on the wind turbine, little window above it, have a little man that walks out occasionally missing the rotating blades.
I think what they should do is they should incorporate the wind turbines into giant crazy golf courses. People wouldn't mind the wind turbine as much if it was dwarfed by a 400-foot clown's head.
So if it's a wind turbine on an actual golf course, like where the Ryder Cup was being played, and Tiger tees off and thump, it gets caught by the turn and sent 400 miles in the other direction. Oh, that's tough luck there, Tiger.
It's unlucky he's going to have to play that one from Spain.
I sympathise with France a bit, because you do feel with the environment. What am I meant to do? Like, someone comes to me in the street and said, in the time you've been standing there, 2,000 acres of rainforest have been destroyed. And I went, OK, I won't stand here. Problem solved.
Branson's created this, as well as all his aircraft, he's got this new thing, isn't he? Virgin Galactic. Yeah. Now, that sounds like a crap idea, isn't it? I mean, exactly what's going to happen when that service isn't working. It's not so easy to have, you know, the sort of London to the moon bus replacement service.
You'd also got to presume there's a fair amount of fuel burning in order to get Galactic. It doesn't strike me something you could do with a large rubber band and a walk back. You couldn't twang it into... Did you enjoy that?
You know what, though, Dara? If that fuel is going to put Richard Branson on the moon, that's a price worth paying. Let's try and get him into the sun.
We may not need to worry about it anyway, because the sun's cooling down, isn't it?
You're absolutely right, yes.
The sun's cooling down.
How cool can a giant ball of fire really get? But this is the state our environment has got to, where we actually get to say the sentence, good news, the sun's dying. Ooh, that's bailed us out.
It's about 100 million years away, so it's all right.
Is that how long it'll be before you can actually pick it up with an oven glove?
How long is it before we get flooded?
Because that's sooner, unfortunately, yeah.
But on the plus
Norwich,
side...
Norwich is supposed to be underwater within 20 years, and the locals are delighted because after centuries of inbreeding, they finally get to use their webbed feet and hands.
This is the news that after talking to Al Gore, the Virgin tycoon has promised to give all the profits from his airline and train company to combat global warming. It will amount to $3 billion or £1.6 billion.
But isn't that ridiculous, given that his companies are the ones who are causing a lot of the global warming? That would be like Noel Edmonds pledging £3 million to combat shit telly.
OK, let's have a look at some of the graphics from this. This map, for example, shows how the UK and Ireland would look after the polar ice caps have melted. But we can also show you how it would look if the water companies don't repair their leaking pipes. Two things impressed me about that map. Firstly, why is Scunthorpe one of the major population centres that we must be very worried about? But Jesus, Scunthorpe is gone. Britain shall never continue. With the advent of global warming and the average UK temperature having risen by several degrees, the coldest place in Britain is now officially Chris Tarrant's bedroom. One of the consequences of the devastation and flooding is that Belgium will completely disappear, although potentially this is good news for Everton, as it means another Champions League spot will be up for grabs. At the end of that round, all the points go to Frankie, Hugh and Mark. Now we come to our final quickfire round called Scenes We'd Like to See. This is for everyone, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. I call it ideas for scenarios we'd love to see, and the performers come in with their suggestions. Here we go. The first subject is ill-advised things to say in court.
How could she have seen my face? I was wearing a balaclava!
So, to summarise, there's no evidence, but he does look a bit rapey.
Your Honour, that wig looks really gay.
Your Honour, if you like, I've got the number of a really good Brazilian cleaner.
Well, if stabbing a man makes me guilty, I'm guilty.
I would like to present my own defence through the medium of dance.
So, if I'm found not guilty, can I keep all the stuff I nicked?
And I put it to you, my lad, that child is sexy.
Oi, Wiggy! I've done your door!
I was performing the Heimlich manoeuvre and it sort of turned into the wheelbarrow position.
Will this take long? I'm meeting a boat from Colombia at 9.
There is a precedent for this. I refer Your Honour to episode 10 of LA Law.
And let me say this. Sentencing you will give me an overwhelming wave of sexual pleasure. Send him down.
The next topic is things a sports commentator would never say.
Like a lot of people watching this Olympics, I'm wondering why black people don't just take over the earth.
There's the bell, and the schoolgirls I've been spying on go back to their classrooms.
I can't be the only person to wonder what it would be like to shag this gymnast.
So here we are, from Wembley.
So, with 3 furlongs to go in this Grand National, let's leave the leaders and go and watch the fallers being shot.
And they're off! They're off! They're off! And I should probably keep my voice down because this is snooker.
Oh, forehand, backhand, forehand. Don't you just love it when they grunt?
Just reading through the names of this Chinese team is making me feel hungry.
And for those of you who missed them, here are next week's Italian football results.
This woman isn't just a world-class curler, she's also a model.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give the points there to Frankie, Hugh and Mark. A round of applause to everyone involved. Everyone sit down. That's the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. This week's winners are Frankie Boyle, Hugh Dennis and Mark Watson. Commiserations to Andy Parsons, John Colshaw and Russell Howard. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Mock the Week back on Thursday at 10. Michael Palin stars in American Friends, next on BBC 2. And on BBC 3 in 10 minutes, new comedy, I'm Will Stupid.